Right now, playing in silver in Splinterlands is very important, and people keep asking me all the time, I have enough rating to get into silver, but how am I supposed to get enough card power to actually get to play in silver? So today we're going to be talking about PEAKMONSTers and how to use the rental system to get enough power into silver. Hello everyone, my name is Luke and this is my Play to Earn channel, mostly focused on Splinterlands right now because this is the game that I think is the best and I enjoy the most right now as far as NFT games. And today we're going to be talking about how to get into silver by renting. And I know I've already talked about this in a lot of my guides, but still people are asking these questions. So this guide isn't necessarily for those who are already familiar with renting to silver or gold or whatever league you want to do. It's for the new players who are having a hard time. You know, they're coming to here, they're battling, they're getting enough rating for silver, but then they're looking at their power and saying, I'm still not in silver because I don't have enough card power. And I've talked about it before in my other guides, but it's buried, you know, within 60-minute videos, whatever it is for my new beginner guides. I just want one video dedicated to this that I can point people to every time they ask me, how can I rent more card power? The reason why renting is so important right now, you can come look at my Google Sheet link in the description in the comments. You can see based on each league, estimated based on current dark energy crystal value and where cards are selling for right now as today's video. To get into bronze 2, you'd have to spend 30 bucks, 180 bucks for bronze 1. And to start playing in silver 3, if you're buying and not renting, you're gonna have to spend $540 to get yourself into the silver 3 with 15,000 card power. Now, if you have the funds to do that, more power to you, and you're comfortable with putting that into a game that could lose its value, that, you know, go ahead. You know, you're putting the risk in and you're going to benefit with more rewards. Now, for most of us, we're not going to be able to spend $540 into Splinterlands right away. So we're going to have to come rent cards, and based off of the card power for DEC value, we're going to talk about what that means here in a second if you don't know. But here are my estimations for what it might look like to get into silver right now. If card prices and rental market are good, then it's going to be about 30 DEC a day to play in silver right now. Or if they are really bad, which they are continuing to climb in price, it could be 75 DEC a day, upwards of 150. But once it gets to that point, it's probably not worth it anymore to rent to play into silver. So we're shooting somewhere to spend 30 to 75 DEC a day to rent into silver. If you don't have that amount yet, you're gonna have to play some matches without renting cards in bronze 3 and do that first to build up your DEC to go rent these cards. Now, the first thing we want to do in renting cards is to go to the market and use PEAKMONSTers. The reason you don't want to go through the Splinterlands market and click for rent is that this market is much slower, and so it's going to be hard to find what are the best deals for card power. And when you do happen to find them in this market, you're going to take a lot longer to try to put your transaction through. And right now it's so competitive to get these good price cards renting for enough power. Everyone's trying to do the same thing, and so you don't want to use the normal market. You want to go to PEAKMONSTers, click on that tab, and we're going to use this as our rental site. Now, when you come to PEAKMONSTers, you're going to want to log in as the first thing. And one thing you're going to want to note is do not log in with your Splinterlands account. What you need to do is, if you haven't already, you're going to need to download the Hive keychain. So you're going to have to use either Chrome or Firefox to get this browser extension, because it's going to help us make our transactions faster. If you haven't set up your Hive keychain, you're going to need to download the browser extension. Once you do, I already have it. It'll ask you to set up your account. You're eventually going to need your account keys, so you want to come back to the Splinterlands website, click on your account, do request account keys. What you'll do is you'll hit submit request. It will go to your email, and then look into your email, click on that link. It will send you back to the Splinterlands site where you have to enter in your password. And then once you do that, you'll get all your account keys to put into the Hive keychain. And Hive keychain is safe. I've used it plenty, of times for a couple months now. It is a safe way for you to store your keys and to use your Hive keys for things like PEAKMONSTers as well as other Hive websites. Now, I'm not going to specifically walk you through all of those steps because I don't want to give away my account information, But again, once you click download for these Hive keychains on your browser, it should be pretty self-explanatory of what they'll tell you to do and how to set this up. And once you have your account keys, it should be a matter of plugging and playing, grab your account key and put it in, whether it's the posting key, the active key, the master key, whatever you want to give to PEAKMONSTERs. They will need the posting key at least at minimum for you to rent cards through them. Now, the reason you don't want to log in with Splinterlands is I'll show you right here, right now. So when we're logged into our Splinterlands account on PEAKMONSTERs, instead of using the Hive keychain, we'll go on here and try to rent some cards. And what will happen is you hit rent card, and then it's going to ask you to confirm the transaction. Then you have to log into HiveSinger, and you're going to have to go through this mess every time you want to rent one of these cards. Again, as I said, these rentals with great value go so fast. Everyone's competing for these same cards, and you're not going to get them in time. You need to make your transactions as fast as possible. That's why we're using the HiveSinger Chrome or Firefox extension. Now that I have linked my keychain for Hive here into PEAKMONSTERs, all you got to do is log in with this. A lot of times they'll ask for your HiveSinger password if you haven't entered that in for a while. I had already entered it in today, so it's not going to even need it for me. Now we can go to the rental tab, right? Because that's what we're here to do. Now, when you go to the rental tab, it should already be sorted by the best deal CP per DEC over each day. If it's not, then you want to come up here and click on it and make sure that it's giving you the best deals. Now, all that this means is card power per how much you're going to spend in DEC a day to rent it. So a couple examples here. This card has 300 CP power. You can see it's about 1/3 DEC a day to rent, meaning that if you divide those, the 300 card power by the 0.3 DEC, you get 958 card power per day if you were spending 1 DEC. So hopefully that makes sense. This number isn't the card power you're getting, this one. It's actually this one right here is the card power value of the card. They're just taking that and they're dividing it by how much DEC you're going to spend on it to give you how good of a deal is this card compared to its DEC for each card power that you're spending. So an easier example might be this Frozen Soldier. This one is 60 card power to rent. Right now it's 0.1 DEC to rent is all, meaning that if you rented 10 of them, you'd spend 1 DEC a day and you'd get 600 card power. Hopefully that's making sense to you, but if not, essentially what you just want to look for is the highest number here is going to give you the best deal. That is the number when we look over at this rental estimate for Silver 3. If your number on average is you're getting 500, this number right here is 500 CP per card that you are renting, then that's going to be 30 DEC a day to rent into Silver 3. If that number, you're getting worse deals like this, on average you're getting 300 CP for 1 DEC a day, that means you're going to be spending in this column 50 DEC a day to get into Silver. So the higher CP over DEC a day, the better, the less you're going to be spending to get into Silver. The lower that number is on average for you as you rent cards, the more DEC you're spending to get into Silver 3 each day. So just a heads up, this is going to be a painful process because again, everyone is competing for the best deals. Everyone wants to spend the least amount of DEC possible to get into Silver 3. So a couple tips to know within that. One is you're going to want to hit this button a lot. It's the refresh page. Once you hit the refresh page, it'll give you all the best deals that recently just popped up. I'm going to click on the cart to add it to my cart. Then I'm going to have to go up here, click on this, see how many days I want it. So if I wanted to rent it for the full season that's ahead, maybe it's 13 days. If your strategy is I want to do all my rentals for 1 day, drain my account from 100% down as far as I can and then let it reset and rent another day, then that's possible as well. Just however much duration you want, leave it like that. It will pop up the same amount of duration as long as you don't refresh the page. So then you can click it. It will show you how much cards did I rent, how long, and that will give you the DEC I'm about to spend. Once you click that, all you have to do is confirm it with the Hive keychain that we're logged into, and now you can see, boom, it has been broadcasted. To see if we got the rental, we can either see if our DEC dropped. We can also go to My Explorer. This will take a little bit of time to pop up. You can keep refreshing and then you can see if it went through. You can hit View Details. These are the cards that I rented just a moment ago. But sometimes if it doesn't go through, let's see if I have an example. it will say, there we go, false. And that means that someone else rented that card before you and you did not actually get that deal. Believe me when I say you're not going to get the top deal a lot of the time. So a couple other tips. Again, you can keep refreshing, go through, try to rent as many cards as you can and just hit go as fast as you can and hope that you actually get those ones. You can take a hit knowing, okay, these cards that are up here at the top, they're probably going to be nabbed up faster than I can hit the button because, again, everyone's competing for the same cards. So you can scroll down a bit and say, okay, maybe I'm not going to get these top deals, but personally, I'm okay if I'm renting at that 400 CP average. So every card that's around 400 CP, I'm going to lock that up for the whole season and hit confirm. So again, know how much CP over DEC you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with spending 38 DEC a day, you can look to get those 400 CP cards, card rates over DEC a day. Or maybe you're like, I'm willing to spend up to 50. That's the 300 card power for DEC a day. So just know what you're comfortable with. And maybe you're not comfortable with, my average being 100 CP over DEC a day. That's going to cost me 150 dark energy crystals a day to rent a silver. So just know, hey, I'm not going to be renting these cards that are in between this 100 to 200 CP. That's just not worth it to me. And you can stay away from those deals. Obviously, the lower that you scroll on this page, the easier you're actually going to get these deals, the more times you're going to have successful rentals versus the failed transaction, because everyone, again, is looking for the best deals at the top. Other things you can do is you can click on gold. Sometimes gold has better CP values because some of these gold cards aren't being rented to play with. They're just being rented for the CP power itself. Like deals like this are incredible. They're going to be taken before I can even get there for the 950 card power per DEC a day. But things like, if you scroll down, maybe you can find ones that are more towards the 400 or 500 range. Obviously, if you're renting into silver 3, you want to be careful not to accidentally go and rent a card that has 150,000 card power. Even if it has a good 600 CP over DEC a day, look at how much DEC it is to rent this per day, 250 DEC. So if you're playing in something like gold, then yeah, getting that card would make sense. But if you're only looking to reach silver 3, you're going to want to be looking towards the card powers that are more 500, 1,000, 2,000, things like that, because you're only trying to get 15,000 card power. If you're renting 150,000 card power just to play in silver 3, you're going to be wasting a lot of dark energy crystals on that. Now, another thing that you can do is you can click on maybe legendaries and epics only. That way you can see what are the best deals for some cards that have high card power already, or will have a combination of, maybe not the best card power per DEC a day, but it's a card that that you'll use and that you love to play with. So Black Dragon at 5 DEC a day, even though it's 300 card power, even that one's going to go quick because it makes sense to rent that, right? That's going to give me 1,500 card power, but I also now have a legendary monster to play with while I am playing in silver. So you can sometimes see that just nabbing up the best deal isn't going to be the best combination. Maybe you want to play with, hey, I'm okay with spending 50 DEC a day as opposed to 30 DEC a day, but knowing that I have cards that I'm going to be using, like the Black Dragon, in my ranked play, so I'm going to be winning more battles, earning more DEC anyways. Or maybe if it's a gold card, I'm willing to spend more DEC a day on Nectar Queen than Flamesmith because I know I'm going to be playing with Nectar Queen, so every time I do, I get a 10% DEC bonus. So even though it's going to cost me more, 0.25 DEC more a day than to rent Flamesmith, I know I'm going to be using this card and probably at least winning a couple of 10% bonuses, and that's going to make up for the 0.25 DEC per day for that card power. So you can kind of see there is a balance. If you're just going for card power, you just want to look at simply this number. If you're going through some balance of I want to rent cards that I know I'm going to use, but also have a good card power rating, maybe you're willing to drop your CP average per DEC a day for a card that you use and hopefully are earning more DEC back anyways because of that. There is also just the strategy of, man, I am so annoyed with trying to rent all these cards that are flying off the shelf so fast. You can go to Gold Epic and just like, okay, this is the best card I'm going to get for 15,000 card power. I only need to rent this one card, even though it's 334 CP per DEC a day. I would rather just rent this one card, 45 DEC a day, as long as I can, because I'm so tired of just mashing up the button and this deal's constantly being gone. I just want to rent one card, even if I'm getting a less of a worse deal, because time is valuable too. If you're literally spending 30 minutes a day to try to just get these rentals, you have to ask yourself, is spending 30 minutes a day constantly refreshing, constantly hitting, trying to get the best deals, is that worth it to you? And for some, yeah, it is. For others like me, this is a pain to constantly have this thing saying, actually, this card has already been taken by someone else. That's frustrating. It ruins the experience for me, and I'd rather spend a little more DEC a day to not have to do that constantly. I will add, I think there is good news coming to PEAKMONSTERS as Jarvie speaks about it. I've seen him in my comments, and also talking about the AMA, there is going to be a new feature where you can bid for a certain amount of card power and what price you're willing to pay.
And the other will be a collection power bid. So you'll say, well, I'll bid 300 collection power per DEC. And someone comes in and, says, well, I'll bid 280. And so you kind of have...
So you can see that he's talking about a system where possibly we can put in, hey, I'm willing to spend this 300 CP for DEC a day and get me to the 15,000 power, and PEAKMONSTERS will automate that for you. Now, if someone comes in and says, well, I'll be willing to pay 200 card power DEC a day value, then they're going to get those cards on the rental market first until they're completed and they're fulfilled. And then it should go to you or whoever's next until eventually, hopefully, it gets to you with the 300 CP for DEC a day. And that will automatically, in PEAKMONSTERS, fulfill that for you. And you don't have to do anything. And then once you get that, hey, I want to hit 15,000 power, it will know your account and it will say, okay, you're done. You got your rentals locked up. You're at the 15,000 power. We'll stop renting for you so you're not spending more DEC than you wanted to. They said in this video that they're still testing that system. It might come out this season, might come out in the future seasons. But if that does, then at least we won't have to sit here anymore and constantly click on which cards we're trying to buy. PEAKMONSTERS should be able to do that for us. When that feature comes out, I'll be testing it myself. We'll see what are the results and hopefully make a video about it as well then. For now though, we're gonna have to keep hitting that refresh button, keep hitting the gold button, and try to nab up all these cards that are hot on the market. It's not easy, guys. You will have to do that for a while in order to potentially get into silver. But again, sometimes you can just grab a card like this and see if you can rent it. It's going to be expensive. You're going to need a lot of DEC in your account. But again, I'm renting a 10,000 CP card here, potentially for the entire season, so that I don't have to worry about it as long as they don't cancel on my rental. If they do, then I'm going to have to go through this process again. To see if your rentals are going to be canceled, you can click on My Cards. Someone taught me this in a live stream, so thank you, whoever it was. I forget your name. You click on My Cards, you click For Rent, and you see here, delegated to days remained in rent. A lot of these cards, 12 days. But if it's canceled, it will probably show something like 24 hours or less, because if they cancel on you, you have that card only for 24 more hours. This is especially important to pay attention to in the end of the season rewards. You want to make sure your cards aren't being canceled as soon as the season ends, because then you're not getting the season rewards that you thought you're gonna. Maybe it drops you from silver renting power down to bronze within that day. You need to end the season with the silver amount of power. So just keep an eye on your rentals and make sure they're not being canceled on you. If they are, there's nothing you can do about it. You'll only get that card for 24 more hours. The DEC, of course, will be refunded to you. You'll just have to go back and rent more power. This happened to me a lot in the last season. What you'll often see happen is that you'll get 15,000 power. You'll say, oh, I've rented it up for the full season. I've got enough for me. And then, as rental prices go up, people see that. They'll cancel on you so that they can relist the card for higher rental prices. And now you'll have to go from 15,000 power. Maybe it drops you back down to 12,000. And you'll have to go look for 3,000 more on PEAKMONSTERS. Again, super frustrating. But hopefully PEAKMONSTERS will implement that feature where it just automatically does it for you. And maybe with the Chaos Legion release, with more cards being on the market as we move throughout the year, hopefully that gives us more supply so that we're not all competing with this high demand over these the smaller amount of cards. I don't know. We'll see if that changes anything. I understand right now it's very frustrating to be a player having to rent these cards. I feel the pain. I know that you guys feel the pain. But hopefully we keep grinding, we keep getting the rewards, and as we do, hopefully over time, instead of having to spend 540 bucks to get that 15,000 power we need, hopefully over time we're getting closer and closer on our accounts so that we're having to rent less and less, and then we can enjoy the benefits of not having to rent or spend, 500 or a couple $1,000s to get to the next level or get to silver. We can just rest knowing that we have enough power built up. But again, that's going to take months of play. I've played for a couple months. I'm nowhere near that. I'm at a couple thousand power now. But hey, at least it's a couple thousand power that I'm not having to rent now. All right, hopefully that renting guide was helpful to you all. If you have any further questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll try to respond when I get the chance, or maybe I'll do it in future videos and live streams as well, answering questions. If you have any thoughts about this, what is your rental strategy guide? Maybe you have a different strategy than I showed today. What are your thoughts? Drop those in the comments below as well so that we can help out one another as a community. For now though, this is the end of the video and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.